Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back to art class. So today we're going to talk about a specific art movement. Now we've talked about art movements just a little bit this year, maybe a little bit the year before this one. An art movement is like a time period. If we think of art beginning back when cavemen were putting paintings on the wall, going all the way through history and ending right now today, there's different time periods along that big long line where art was kind of similar at similar times. This doesn't mean everybody had to or wanted to or did make art in the exact same way, but certain things become popular and certain ideas become popular and artists kind of work on them, sometimes together, sometimes separately. So you'll see these like 20, 30-year spells of time where a lot of the paintings had similar styles, similar techniques. So that's kind of the easy way to think about an art movement. It's a period of time where artwork was at least kind of similar, similarly made. The ideas behind it were similar. There's a bunch of different art movements. The one we are talking about today, the specific one that we are talking about, was called Surrealism. So Surrealism was this time period in art and in society where people were starting to kind of experiment with almost like ideas that couldn't exist in the real world. People were starting to think about things that could only happen in like dreams. So the word surrealism comes from the word surreal. And the word surreal is something that's kind of bizarre or strange. It can be kind of a mix between things that are possible and things that aren't possible. A mix between fact and complete, total, made-up fiction. We see surrealism in a lot of different kinds of artwork. There was surrealist music. There were surrealist books and stories written. But of course, we're talking about the visual side of that, paintings and drawings. One of the most famous surrealist artists was a guy named Salvador Dali. This guy right here. And as you can tell, just from looking at him, might be kind of a wacky dude. So a lot of his artwork was kind of based on dreams, again, thoughts that kind of combined things that could exist with things that couldn't exist. One of his most famous artworks is this one, right there. That is called The Persistence of Memory. It's got a lot of melting clocks in it. So that's kind of one of the main images that people take away from his artwork, is that idea of the melting clocks. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here that wouldn't necessarily happen in real life. Now, some things about it could be, I mean, if you look at like the background, some of the imagery in it is more real than others. Here is another really good example. Sorry, I keep looking down at my computer because I'm having to try and pull something up. Yes, here's another really famous example of surrealist artwork. This one right here, made by an artist named René Magritte. I apologize to the family of Mr. René Magritte if I am saying your name wrong. I do not speak French, nor can I pronounce it very well. So again, kind of a mix of things that make sense and things that are strange and don't make sense. But for today, what we're doing, how we're going to kind of embrace that surrealism idea, is we're going to make some made-up landscapes. So when I say made-up landscapes, we can kind of think about that Salvador Dali painting, that persistence of memory with the melting clocks. Now that doesn't mean you need to use melting clocks. I'm just saying his was kind of a landscape, yours will be kind of a landscape. A landscape, as we remember, is a big, wide, open view of the outdoors. That's like the one rule for today. It has to be a landscape. Other than that, it's up to you. We want this to be made up. We want this to be things that could not happen in the real world, things we would not see in the real world. There can be realistic parts to it, but there doesn't have to be either. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about, I don't know, maybe a forest made entirely of candy. Maybe a farm that instead of growing regular fruits and vegetables, it grows cars and trucks. I don't know. These can be as wacky as you want. And since I want these to be completely out of your brain, I'm not even going to make an example today because you guys have seen landscapes. We've done those before, so now everything else is coming out of your brain. That's it. This is like a pretty wide open art project. I understand that, but I want you to kind of push the old brains to come up with these weird, wacky, impossible made up landscapes. Again, that's our rule. That's the one rule. It needs to be a landscape. Again, when we think of landscapes, big, wide open view of nature. That's it though. That's the rule. Everything else about it can be completely made up, completely out of your brain. I hope these are awesome. I think they will because you are all very creative folks. Can't wait to see them. See y'all later. Bye.